Hey, what is going on YouTube? This is Broke Watch Fanatic, and today we're going to look at an Oris Big Crown pointer date. The first Oris to be featured on this channel. But this isn't your ordinary Big Crown pointer date. This is the Movember edition as indicated by the caseback and the mustache logo on the leather strap. When I first laid eyes on this watch, I thought it looked very sophisticated, yet casual at the same time. But I also struggled to see which category this watch would fall under. According to Oris, this watch was made for pilots in the 1930s, hence the big crown for pilots to easily operate the watch using their gloves. But I could also see this as a field watch or even as a dress watch. Perhaps that is a telltale sign that shows its versatility. The first Oris Big Crown pointer date was released back in 1938, and it is still being produced to this day. That would put this model in production for over 85 years and counting. It goes without saying that this model is indeed a staple to their collection and in my opinion has the most heritage-infused designs out of their lineup. Another interesting fact about Oris is that it remains an independent Swiss watchmaker since it was founded in 1904 and gives them the freedom to explore ideas such as their sustainability initiatives, which include the Change for the Better campaign, as well as joining the Movember Foundation to raise funds and awareness for men's health issues. And this Movember edition of the Big Crown pointer date is helping to do just that. The Big Crown pointer date from Oris might look like a GMT from afar, but instead it incorporates a very unique way of telling the date. Kudos to Oris for not falling into the temptation of just cutting out a window on the dial and calling it a date window. It keeps the symmetry in order and adds a fourth hand for that look of an extra complication, which I'm sure has a certain attraction to some enthusiasts. The watch has a case diameter of 40 millimeters, thickness of 12 millimeters, lug to lug of 48.3 millimeters, lug width of 20 millimeters. The big screw down crown has a 7.4 millimeter diameter that's signed by Oris. The caseback is closed with a special engraving. The crystal is a vintage inspired dome sapphire crystal with inner AR coating and has 50 meters of water resistance. It has the caliber 754, which is a Sellita SW200 modified to have that fourth hand as the date indicator. It beats at 4 Hz or 28,800 vibrations per hour, hacks, hand winds, and has a power reserve of 38 hours. Taking a look at the case, one of the elements that stand out to the eye is this bezel. The easiest way to describe it is a coin edge bezel, but if you look closer, it reminds me of a coiled spring that's been compressed all around. And you get the same look when you turn the watch over. The top surface is brushed, while the rest of the case is high polished. Normally, the Big Crown pointer date is equipped with an exhibition caseback that shows the caliber 754 with their signature red self-winding rotor. But in this Movember edition, it is closed and engraved with the words Oris Movember Edition, the Oris flag, and right below it, a mustache. I think I prefer this type of caseback over the see-through caseback for this model because the movement inside isn't anything to brag about. Moving on to the dial, there's a lot to look at. We start with the cathedral hands that have gilt accents and filled with superluminova. I like how the tip of that minute hand is long enough to reach all the way to the end of the minute track. The pointer date hand has a red tip that highlights the date, though it is a bit hard to see against the black dial. The dial has full Arabic numerals for the hours, with the number 4 having the most unique typography. It reminds me of the Junghans Maxbill watch with the 4 looking like an upside down chair. It seems to fit the theme of the cathedral hands, however. Once you look further out from the hour markers, you have a gilt railroad track for the minutes with luminous markers in 5-minute increments. And at the farthest edge of the dial are the numbers to indicate the date for the month. Now to activate that pointer date, it's just like any other watch with a date complication where you pull out the crown to its first position and rotate the crown clockwise to move it forward. This function cannot be operated in reverse, so if you miss the date, you'll have to go the full circle. Now the numerals for the date are on the smaller side and could get distorted by that domed crystal. So depending on your eyesight and the position of the watch, it could take a few adjustments to capture the date. The brown leather strap is stamped with a mustache next to the stitches near the lugs, indicating that this is a Movember edition Oris. It also comes with quick release spring bars, which is a plus. Now going back to my comment earlier about which category I'd place this watch under, I just can't put it under any single category. I can see this falling under a pilot's watch as intended, as well as a field watch or a dress watch. The versatility is probably one of its strongest selling points of this watch. It's an easy to wear type of watch that's light on the wrist, sits compact at 12mm, and aside from the small date tracker, the time is easy to tell with those large hour markers and cathedral hands. It's also well suitable for nighttime or dark conditions, as the Superluminova is well applied on the hands and hour markers. So this isn't a watch that I would add to my collection. It's too dressy and too vintage for my taste. But I can tell you that this is a great watch for someone who likes those attributes I just mentioned. But it's also great for someone who likes to visually see numbers on their watches. You have all the 12-hour numerals printed largely on the dial, as well as all 31 numerals printed for the date track on the outer edges. And if you like the unique display of the date complication, this watch is not to be overlooked. Thanks for watching.